Hey guys, it's Jessica, and today I'm going to share with you my favorite high-end, luxury, super expensive makeup products. I felt quite bougie today getting ready, but one thing that I learned while I was preparing for this one was that there are about 3, maybe 4 categories, maybe even 5, where I literally don't have a high-end favorite because I think that my drugstore favorite is better. And so I figured instead of forcing it and saying, oh, like for example, eyeliner, I think that my favorite drugstore eyeliner is better than any high-end liner I've tried. So I was like, instead of forcing it and saying this is the best high-end liner, I figured why even do that? You can save money. So if you are interested in my favorite drugstore versions of all of this, I will link my drugstore version of this video, my favorites from 2018, all drugstore. But today it's all high-end except for about 4 or 5 drugstore products that I used because, again, I think it's better. So yay for saving money. But either way, like I said, this is a whole grouping of expensive products. If you like this kind of video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you will subscribe, drink some coffee with me, because this is gonna be a long video. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna put all of this on my face today, obviously, so as I'm telling you about it, you'll see me applying it. Where do I begin? Let me take a sip of coffee. Hold on. So I will have prices, lists, links down below. Okay, Jessica, just seriously, you take forever. So the first favorite is the first thing I put on my face, and that would be like a spray toner or a spray essence. This is something that I started doing this past year, and I actually only started doing it because I discovered this product, and now I've tried a lot of different versions of it, but this is still my favorite. This is from the brand Farmacy, and it is their Skin Dew Hydrating Essence Mist and Setting Spray. It has Echinacea Green Envy, but basically it's a hydrating essence that helps to kind of tone your skin before you start putting on primer and foundation and makeup and all that other stuff. It's just a step of, in my opinion, skincare that can just help prep your skin for it and kind of give it something nourishing, I said that weird, nourishing, before you start putting things on your face that maybe aren't as good for your skin, you know? So I love this stuff. I'm about halfway through. I already have a backup, and I just think it's fantastic. This is a more natural brand, which I also appreciate. Again, when I'm thinking about skincare, I want it to have good stuff in it. I just spray it all over my face. I let it dry for a minute or two. Sometimes that's when I'll apply like lip balm or something like that, which we'll get to next. But otherwise, I just adore this stuff. I use it almost every single day. I also have my favorite drugstore version again in that other video, but I love both of them, but I think I like this one even more. My next favorite is lip balm, and I have a few. I have 2 from the Memebox Nooni line. You can buy this, I'm pretty sure, at Ulta. This one in front of me is the water blending lip mask. This one is in a pot, but I like that it's wide enough that I can kind of get my fingers in there without having to get it in my nails, you know, sometimes if it's small. Anyway, so I like this. I find it to be super moisturizing. I use this during the day when I'm getting ready. Another one from that line is their water blending lip oil, and they have different flavors of this, and I just love it. I think this is certainly a lot more lightweight, and I actually keep this in my bathroom. I'll just toss it on like if I'm getting ready quickly in there. I love both of these. I think they're both fantastic. If you like something thick on your lips, however, my other favorite is the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask. This is one that so many people swear by. This is my 3rd jar of this. I love it. I love it so truly, madly, deeply. It's so unbelievably moisturizing. It looks amazing on your lip. It has some vitamin C in it as well. It says it's nourishing and plumping. I agree with all of it. It looks amazing on your lips. I'll wear this out more than I would care to say because it's got this light pink tint to it that just kind of looks lovely and glowy on your lip, but it also does great things for your lips. So I love all 3 of these. But if you were like, okay, but how do I want to spend my money? I do think the Laneige one's my favorite. If you've not tried any of these, start with the Laneige because it is the bomb. All right, the next thing I like to put on my face on days that I have the time is some sort of facial oil. And so my favorite, I've actually ruined the top of, I need to repurchase again, is the Kevyn Neo-Elixir Weightless Beauty Oil. The reason I like this more than a lot of my other oils is this is weirdly lightweight, and it's, what did they call it? Yeah, weightless. It really is. So like I shake it up because it does have like different strata of layers of things. I shake it up, I get it in the little tube. It usually has a really pretty gold thing, but like I said, I broke it and here we are. I'm still using it because it's amazing. but it's so weirdly lightweight, and so I'll kind of rub it onto the skin at first, and then I'll just press it in. I mean, it just looks naturally glowy. It's not a thick layer. It doesn't affect the way the foundation would sit on top of it. Now today I used primers on top of this, but I don't always. Sometimes I'll just put this on, let it maybe sink in for a couple minutes, and then go in with the foundation. So you don't have to use a primer and an oil. I just did it because I wanted to show you all of these products that are my favorite. So I put a lot of makeup on my face, but I just adore this stuff. Like I said, I'm definitely repurchasing. I hope they don't discontinue it because I don't hear anyone talking about it. I'm like, please don't discontinue it. It's so good. So speaking of primer, I have two primer favorites. I have one that's more for smoothing and kind of pore filling, and one that's more for like luminizing and glow. I use both in conjunction with each other, which is exactly what I did today. So my favorite primer discovery truly of the year though was this Peter Thomas Roth Skin to Die For No Filter Mattifying Primer and Complexion Perfector. This stuff is magic. For me, I have normal to dry skin, and I felt like every time I would try any sort of pore filling primer, it would just emphasize any dryness I had. It just didn't do the trick for me. It just never looked right. So if you're kind of like me and you feel like you've tried a lot of smoothing, pore filling kinds of primers, and you just feel like either they don't do anything or that they just don't look right on you, you will probably love this, because I tried it and it's a cream, it's a liquid. You know what I mean? And a lot of pore filling primers are like thicker than this, or they're in a pot, but this is this cream that just is the softest, like a baby's bottom, and it blurs the kind of blurs the lines, smooths everything out. I say it kind of pore fills because I don't need a lot of pore filling, but I do feel like when I use this on my nose and in this region right here, it is wildly different than when I don't use it. It really is. And so my original story with this goes that my dad, I was like at my parents' house and I had used this for one of the first times, and it was actually a little trial size that I had. And I was using it for one of the first times, and my dad like looked at me and did a double take and said, "Your skin looks really smooth today." And it was like the weirdest compliment. He probably doesn't even remember saying it. But I was so taken aback because what a specific compliment. And I thought, well, what did I use? I'm like, well, I use a foundation I use all the time. And I was like, it's this. And so I started using it and paying closer attention. I was like, it is this. Like, I'm telling you, I think you'll be surprised. Now, if you have really problem pores or super oily skin, you might not love this as much as I do. I do feel like it can tend to have almost an oily, not an oily finish, because I do think it's like smoothing and slightly mattifying, but it has this feel to it that when you feel it, you'll know what I mean, almost an oily feel, but I don't think it looks oily on the skin, so maybe you would still like it. If you have oily skin and you've tried this and you like it, or you don't, let us know below. I'm curious about your guys' feelings towards it, but it is amazing. Now it does say, for long-term results, apply daily for 28 days. So it's saying it's got these different skincare ingredients that supposedly help reduce the appearance of pore size and shape over time. Blah, blah, blah. Wow. It also says you could totally use it alone with nothing on top of it for like a no filter look. I could kind of see, it definitely, again, it improves the look of your skin. So if you don't like wearing a lot of foundation, you could totally wear this alone. I could actually see that working. Okay, I'll shut up about it. I love it. So the Luminizing one, I had to force myself to stop using this for like literally all of December, because I'm like, I am like only using this constantly. So I really did. I branched out and used some other stuff. But this is the Jouer Luminizing Moisture Tint Sunscreen. So it has SPF of 20. I feel like you still need another SPF with that. So it's weird that it's just called a sunscreen, but I have it in the shade Pearl. Now this is not, it's confusing because when I first bought it, I thought, oh, it's a tinted moisturizer since it's called a moisture tint. Not really. It's more of, again, I'm using it more as a glowy primer because while it does have some color to it, it's not like a coverage kind of a product, if that makes sense. I don't know how, I guess it's got some coverage, but it's one of those things that you don't need an exact shade match in it because that's not really its purpose. And I think it's pretty forgiving when it comes to if the shade doesn't match you. But it just imparts this gorgeous glow that is like, it's so pretty, you guys. Now I have worn this alone, and I think I've even done that in a video where I was like showing you guys, and I think it's beautiful as it is, but you'd have to be a little light-handed because again, it can look pretty darn shimmery, but not like glittery. It's just glowy and gorgeous, you guys. this is one of those things that when I bought this, it kind of upped my makeup game, because I feel like the days that I wear this, and the reason I couldn't put it down is because any foundation I put on top of it instantly looked better. It looked more like healthy skin, radiant skin, and I felt like I had to attribute that to this. So I highly recommend it. It comes with a ton of product in it, and I mean, I don't use that much because I don't put it on my nose. I put it everywhere else too, you know? So I feel like I can use it sparingly. It's gonna last me 10,000 years. Uh-oh, it says it expires after 12 months. I'll be the judge of that. All right, I have 2 foundation loves. I know, just deal with it. So one that I feel like I haven't talked about a lot, but I've loved, and really I probably should replace it because I'm pretty sure we are inching on like it's gone bad. But it's the one I'm wearing today, and that is the Givenchy Photo Perfection Fluid Foundation. Again, this has SPF of 20 in it. I have it in the shade number 4, Perfect Vanilla. I was just looking this up. It's awful, the shade range, awful, awful. And that's why I didn't bring it up a lot, but I figured I would still tell you about it because I really do like it. And if you're anywhere near my skin tone or you can find a shade that matches, great, but otherwise it's awful. This is a very thin formula, and I feel like I have to use a lot of it to cover my face. However, I just think it's beautiful on the skin. Like, again, I could wear this without any primer underneath and it still looks like glowy and healthy. Not shimmery, nothing like that, but it's just glowy and healthy. And so for that reason, every time I've ever used this, I'm like, yes, like I just adore it. It's exactly my kind of favorite foundation, where it's max of medium coverage. Like, I have a breakout here. It didn't cover a ton of it. You'll see, like, as I'm showing you me applying it right now, it doesn't cover it a ton, but what I like about it is it tones down that redness so it doesn't look crazy. And then if you really wanted to, you could go over it with concealer, like breakouts. But for me, I don't like to draw any more attention to the dryness of the area and the texture. So that's all I did, and I ended up putting some powder on it. The powder I'll talk about in a minute. And I think it did a great job covering. I didn't feel like I needed like a high coverage foundation just for that one part of my face, you know? Anyway, very natural looking, very beautiful. It's expensive. It's $51. I would say it might be worth, can you buy Givenchy in actual Sephora stores? I know it's on Sephora's website. So I was gonna say, if you can, I know like department stores sell it, maybe get shade matched if they have your shade, because obviously you don't wanna be stuck with the wrong shade. Now, the reality is this is shade number 4. It's still slightly yellow. Most foundations are slightly yellow on me, but I really adore it. I'll stop talking about it. It does have a pump and a glass bottle, and it's beautiful, and I will buy it again when I run out, but I wonder if shade 3 would be a better match. I don't know, maybe I'll see again. I need to get shade match. So the other foundation is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation. I love this stuff. I do think you need to pair this with the right primers, because I do think over time, I was talking about this recently, and I don't think I explained it as well as I'd wanted to in my Charlotte Tilbury, like, best and worst of the entire brand. I will link that below. I was very proud of that video. I worked really hard on it. And I went through a ton of the products I'd tried from her over the course of quite a few months and shared, these are the best ones, these are the worst ones. Well, this is one of my favorites, but I do think, and this is what I was saying, I didn't get across in the video, that you do need to pair it with the right primers to keep it looking nice. So like, for me, I love that pore filling primer on my nose, because I feel like when I apply this to my nose without a pore filling primer, I do feel like it starts to break up throughout the day. So that's my piece of advice with this, but I think on the rest of my face, it looks gorgeous regardless. And again, it's a medium to full coverage foundation, and it's just one of those that it's foolproof for me. I can put it on and know I'm gonna have definitely enough coverage. I do think it has more coverage than the Givenchy. And again, I'm gonna have a flawless makeup day. I do feel like, again, you need to set both of these with the powder, even if you don't have oily skin, just to keep them in place. So like, I'll set my T-zone typically with both of them, but I just adore them both. I really couldn't pick a favorite, because I feel like Givenchy is what I like to wear when I'm like, I want to look really good from close up. Does that make sense? Like, I want it to look really good from close up. And Charlotte Tilbury is what I wear like if I'm filming or if I'm like going out for the night, and I'm not as concerned about, well, but see, this looks good close up too. They're both so good. I can't pick. I gotta move on. They're both great. All right, so for brows, this was one of the categories that the drugstore brow product I like is better, in my humble opinion. And I really didn't have a brow favorite from the year. Like, I liked the Hourglass Arch Brow Pencil, but I like the CoverGirl Ultra Fine one. That's what I'm wearing on my brows. I like that one better. So I was like, why force it when I know that that's the one I'm always gonna reach for right now over any high-end one. So I'll link the Covergirl one below and I'll save you some money. I love it. I wear the shade Soft Brown in that and it completely changed my brow game. It's just a thin brow pencil. It's simple, but it is incredible. There we go. Concealer. I love, and this might have won last year, it's the Bobbi Brown Corrector. That's all it is. It's a little pot. I'm not usually into like little pot concealers like this, but there's something about this formula that I have this shade Light Bisque that's kind of a slightly salmon shade, and I will just tap it on my inner corner of my eye, and then a little bit down. I'll get usually 2 fingerfuls of it. That's definitely not a word. Is now. You knew what I meant. And I can tap it in with my finger and the dark circles are gone, just like that. And what's amazing is this is not like a crazy high coverage concealer. Like if you've got severe dark circles, I don't know that you'll like this as much as I do. But if you have dark circles that you definitely want to cover up and you feel like you really look different when you wear concealer versus when you don't, I think you're gonna love this. It is the quickest concealer I own to just tap my finger in, tap it in place, it's done. You can set it with powder, you cannot. I did today, again, because I was trying a bunch of different stuff on my face. I was putting a bunch of different stuff on my face. But you don't have to set it. It stays in place. Again, it's got that kind of medium coverage. I just adore this. There's a reason this is the second one. I'm buying it again when I run out, which will be quite soon. I travel with this all the time. Like, this is like a daily regimen kind of concealer that I absolutely adore. So I didn't have another, I went through my concealer drawer and I was like, I liked a lot of high-end concealer throughout the year, but there was not a single one, like a wand concealer, that I felt so strongly about. Like I literally had 2 in my hand. I'm like, maybe this one. And I'm like, you know what? Again, no, why force it? I have 2 favorite drugstore ones again in that video that I loved even more. So go check that out. Powder, I have 2, technically 3, 2. One is under eye setting powder. You probably already know what I'm gonna say, but it's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder. This stuff is unbelievable. It's like the thinnest pressed powder with the highest amount of coverage I've ever come across. And I love to just use a small kind of like, this is the Charlotte Tilbury one. You do not need this expensive one. You could use any that's around this shape. And I'll just roll it in there and I will tap it on my under eye to set the concealer. It brightens, it forces the concealer to stay in place. It doesn't look crazy crepey. Listen, if you have under eye, if you have fine lines like I do, no concealer is gonna magically hide those completely. It's not possible. Think of the physics of that. So yes, you can use products that will minimize that, absolutely, but they're not just gonna be completely gone. I wish, I wish. In all my years of trying them, but this is the only powder I've come across that I feel like it looks the best on the under eye, where it brightens it, it looks the least crepey. I do feel like, I mean, I still have fine lines, you can still see them, but it looks the best versus like other loose powders I've tried, other under eye setting powders. This one's my favorite. I could go on and on. I know a lot of you guys have finally, it's expensive, but I know a lot of you guys have bit the bullet and bought it and you were like, oh my gosh, yes. Like for me, I literally, when I discovered this, got rid of all of my under eye powders and only kept this one because I was like, well, this one's the one. This is the one. So yes, I'll be buying again. No, I won't shut up about it. I love it. So the other powders, I always talk about this one, but I'm pulling another one into it. It is the IT Cosmetics Celebration Foundation powders. So my original favorite is the Illumination one. I've gone through countless compacts of this powder. I wear it in the shade Fair, sometimes Light. I use it with a brush. I use it with my Beauty Blender, which I know is terrible for the powder, but I do it anyway. If you use a powder foundation with a moist sponge, my favorite's the L'Oreal one, it will give you the most flawless coverage you've ever seen on your skin, ever. I can't, it's my favorite trick. And like when we're going out at night and I did my makeup earlier in the day, I will do this trick and just do it like on my nose and in the middle of my forehead, anywhere that I know I need maybe a little more coverage. And it instantly looks like I completely redid my makeup. It is so flawless. So this one has a little bit of an illuminating quality. It's not a highlighter, nothing like that. But for me and my normal to dry skin, this is what I prefer. It looks healthy. But today, just to show you, I used the original Celebration Foundation powder. This one is more of a matte finish. Again, they both have insane coverage. And for me, since I'm not super oily, I don't really need or desire just a mattifying one. If I'm gonna put a powder on, I figure why not have coverage? So I love both of these. I know a lot of you guys have asked because you've tried this and you didn't like it because again, maybe you just don't like that more of a glowy finish. This one is just as great. So I highly recommend both, just depending on your skin type or what you like on your skin. They're both incredible, incredible products. They don't budge, they stay in place, high coverage, mattifying if you want it to be. Wonderful. All right, next up is a bronzer that you guys told me about in my like subscriber, you guys made me buy it, like subscriber recommendations makeup video. I'll link that one below. That one was so much fun. If you want me to do another one of those, certainly let me know. I know those are kind of becoming super popular on YouTube and they are fun. I like watching them too. So this is the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronze. Now I have it in the lightest one, Fair to Light. It's gonna look like not a bronzer to a lot of you guys, I know. But for me, that's exactly what I wanted because I am slightly fairer toned. And so I liked that this really was one of those bronzers that looks seamless. So when I hear invisible bronzer, I think of more of like a seamless finish, kind of foolproof, easy to apply. You can't really apply too much. And that's exactly what you get in this. And not only that, I love that it's slightly glowy. There's no shimmer, but again, it has that kind of lifelike finish to it that I think is just gorgeous, that I felt like I was missing in so many of my other bronzers. I stopped reaching for them because this one is so much easier to apply. Again, it stays in place all day. Most bronzers I have do, but this one, there's something special about this one. So I had to bring it up. There are a couple different shades. Obviously this would not be a bronzer for most people, but if you're fair skinned and you've been looking for a bronzer that is not quite so dark, I got you, girl, because this one is amazing. Blush. This one's not, it's still high end in my opinion. This is the MAC blush, specifically in the shade Melba. I've tried many MAC blushes over the course of my little career here, and MAC is one of those brands that, like, when I first started my channel, I aspired to own MAC. Didn't everyone? I mean, that was like the thing. Well, I've gone through a lot of MAC in my life now, and I've decluttered a lot, but this powder, really, their powder blushes, I think, are gorgeous. They're pigmented enough, but not so pigmented that you're like I'm gonna look like a clown with one swipe of the brush. No. But they're perfect. But this shade Melba, I think, is one of the most universal shades. It is definitely one of those cult favorites, like makeup artists love it, this specific shade, because it is so versatile. And I love that it's kind of this light peach shade. I have it on my cheeks today. And I'm digging matte blushes because it just makes it easier to, you know, if you don't want glow all over your cheek and you just want in those highlight regions, then you don't have to worry about it with this. Whereas if I've got a shimmery blush, now I do love shimmery blushes too, but if I'm not necessarily wanting glow all over my cheek, then that's where this comes in. And I adore the shade. It was the one that when I looked in my blush drawer, I was like, that's gotta be the one because I've used it so much. So love it, love it, love it, highly recommend. And with MAC, you can save money. Like if you have a Z palette or some kind of other palette, if you don't want the compact, you can save a couple bucks and just get the pan of that blush. This one snuck up on me. I bought it quite a while ago, and frankly, I didn't use it a lot the first like month or so of owning it. And it's the Hourglass Vanish Stick in Champagne Flash. It's their like highlighting stick. And I was like, I'd heard it was great, like you could use it over powder. And so I bought it. I literally, the past like 2 months, can't stop using this. So my favorite way to apply it is to take it on my sponge and then just tap it in the areas I want. You guys, I put this on today over powder, over everything really, and it's one of the only cream products that I can put it on and it doesn't move anything else underneath it. What is this magic formula that does that? I don't know. And I love cream highlighters, but I do feel like, oh, if I'm gonna use a cream highlighter, I should probably, you know, wait and I'll have to do powder after, but then avoid the area. And it's like, there's so many like moving parts with using cream products as your like blush or highlight or bronzer. But this, I don't really have to worry about it. I can put it on at the very end after I've already powdered. It's still, I love the way that looks. I can tap a little bit onto my forehead to get that kind of glow up there. And I love, it doesn't have glitter, flecks of glitter. It's truly just finely milled like shimmer in there. And it's one of the most natural, I mean, obviously it's not natural, but natural-ish. And I just adore it. I was so surprised by how much I liked it in the end when I started using it. So I felt like mentioning it. I actually don't have a powder highlight to recommend to you because again, my other favorites that are powders are from the drugstore. And they are incredible. Eye primer. I really fell in love with this year. This is the Smashbox lid primer. I specifically like the one in white. Anyone can wear it, any skin tone. But the idea is that the white really makes any colors pop. Now, this is not gonna be an insanely white, I mean, it looks like it at first, but once you blend it out, it's not crazy white. I do notice the difference between when I use this and when I use another primer that maybe doesn't have that kind of a white base. And I feel like this holds onto shadow like glue. It really emphasizes the colors of the shadows you're putting on. Even if you're like me, I obviously like neutrals. There's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like even with neutrals, it really emphasizes like the shimmers, and that it just always looks so seamless when I use this, and it looks amazing until I take it off at night. I really like this. This is one that I do have drugstore eye primers I love, but this is really, really good, and I would rebuy it when I run out. Eyeshadow palettes, any guesses? You're all correct. Actually, a lot of you probably are. I have two. First one, the one I'm wearing on my eyes, was the easiest pick for me. And it is the Violet Voss Holy Grail palette. They sell this at Sephora. It is incredible. Listen, guys, I've loved this to death. I spilled coffee on this one day. The shadows were fine. I literally spilled coffee all over it. This is the best palette. Now, I'm gonna stop you right there. I looked at this palette just the other day online, and I was like, whoa, like the pictures of this palette online look like a red and orange palette. It's not. It, like, you see it in my lighting, it's very much a neutral palette with a few pops of that, but it's weird, the lighting online, I was like, I literally saw the palette and thought, oh, that's not that one. Let me go to the next website. No, that was it. It looks so different online than it does in person. I like the way it looks in person. So like I said, it definitely has some pinks and reds, and it's got some like orange, but really, if you look at this region right here, really all of that, it's very much a neutral palette, very much a Jessie palette. I freaking love this. I use almost every single shade in here. Today, I'll quickly run you through what I did on my eyes. I used this beige shade called Thanks a Latte all over my eyelid to kind of set that eye primer a little bit. So after Thanks a Latte, I took the shade Bestie, which is kind of a really nice medium kind of transition shade, and I fluffed that all into the crease. And then I took with my fingertip the shade Ploof, which is this beautiful shimmer, all over the like inside half of my lid. And then I took the shade Brownie Points, which is a deeper matte brown, and I put that in the outer corner of my eyes. And then I took the shade Cool Beans, which is like a really pretty light grayish bronze, and I put it into kind of on the middle of my lid to kind of blend that darker brown into that lighter Ploof shade. And then I took a mixture of Thanks a Latte and Crystal and just kind of put that on my brow bone to add a little bit of lightness, a little bit of shimmer. And then on my lower lash line, I used a mixture of Bestie and then a little bit of Brownie Points on my lower lash line. And that was that. I freaking love this palette. The shimmers are gorgeous, the mattes are gorgeous. Now, I will say this. If I were to swatch this compared to my next favorite, which is the Anastasia Sultry, the Sultry palette definitely is more pigmented, period, across the board. The shimmers are thicker, the mattes are bolder, but I feel like the Violet Voss one is still one of my top favorites because it's so easy to blend. These shadows are so easy to blend. Like, you could screw it up and it'll just blend with it. It's crazy. And again, I feel like this is one of those things that it makes the most seamless, beautiful look on the eyes, which is exactly what really I like on myself. So that's why I think this has been a favorite all year long. It'll continue to be a favorite. I really adore this palette so much. And I haven't felt that way about a palette in a long time, and I think that's why it really took me by surprise. But like I said, this is sold at Sephora. A lot of people don't know that. I've never bought like from the Violet Voss site. I've only bought, this is actually the only Violet Voss thing I own. Yeah. So my other palette, like I mentioned, is the Anastasia Sultry palette. I have a video of me applying this when I did the review, so I can link that below if you want to see an eye look with it, see it more in action. Like I said, the shimmers of this are unbelievable. Look at the swatches. The mattes are unbelievable. Everything is ridiculous. It still blends really well, so I don't have any issues with that. I just think the Violet Voss one's even more blendable. But again, this is one of those palettes that just, I love the soft glam, and I was so torn because I almost include that, but I'm reaching for the Sultry more often. I love that it's got the mattes that I particularly use. It's got a beautiful matte black. I've used that to line my eyes a lot. Like, I'll just grab a really thin eyeliner brush, dip it into the black, and tap it against my lash line. It blackens it, it stays in place. Like, it's an amazing shadow. But the shade Twig and Birch are amazing mixing ones. I love that there's like this cool tone gray, slate, Cyborg is this crazy, like all the shimmers are crazy, but they actually stay in place. And that's why I fell in love with this palette. They look like scary, but as long as you have an eye primer on, it sticks to it and it's gorgeous. So love this. I've gotten this super dirty. I've traveled with this one. I've traveled with both of these. Not on the same trip. That'd be a lot. But I've traveled with both of these separately and they are incredible and very versatile in my opinion. So I wanted to do a quick shout out to MAC pigments because I like to mention at least one like liquid or cream glitter kind of a shadow, and these are just pressed pigments, but I have 2 shades. I've had these forever. This is the MAC pigment in tan. This is the MAC pigment in vanilla. This is the cheaper to go size that if you can find it, I'm never gonna run out of this. I didn't need this full size of the tan. You know what I'm saying? So if you can find the shade you want in the smaller size, definitely do it because you will, it takes the tiniest amount. These are both still like filled to the brim and I've used them for years. So the vanilla one is this gorgeous yellowy white, and that's what is like amazing to me. I used it on my inner corner today just with a small brush, and it's just so pretty and so easy. And then the MAC pigment in tan, same thing, just this gorgeous kind of bronzy shade. The MAC vanilla pigment I typically use the way I showed you on my inner corner, but the MAC tan, I love to just tap onto my finger and tap on top of whatever eye look I did. It is the prettiest color, like truly the prettiest, one of the prettiest colors I've ever come across for eyeshadow. I love them both. I feel like I talk about them a decent amount because they really are so good. And there's something about these 2 shades in particular that I am absolutely in love with. Eyeliner. I don't have a high-end favorite right now. I've loved for years like the Stila Stay All Day, but honestly, I don't think I've bought it this year. I know I haven't used it this year because I found better ones at the drugstore. So if you want to see the liners I used today that are drugstore, again, check out that drugstore video because they're better. So the mascara I used, you probably already know, again, if you've watched any of my videos, the Charlotte Tilbury Legendary Lashes Volume 2. She has a couple mascaras. It's gotta be the Legendary Lashes Volume 2. It's what I'm wearing today. I need to buy a new one. It's an expensive freaking mascara, you guys. But it's just a natural bristle brush. This is the blackest, most volumizing, curling, long wear, lengthening mascara I've ever used, ever. It's so good. Now, I love my L'Oreal Lash Paradise. That's like my other like true blue. And so when I'm not wanting to spend the money, I use that, and they both have a similar effect. But I feel like with the Lash Paradise, I have to do like 2 to 3 coats. This one, I can do 1 coat and it's like, boom, curled, black. It stays that way until the end of the day. It doesn't flake off. This mascara is stupid amazing. It's stupid amazing. It's stupid amazing. If you've tried it and you love it too, let us know down below. Setting spray, and then we'll get to lips. My favorite setting spray, the one that I actually feel like makes a difference, is the Urban Decay All Nighter. There's a reason it's a cult favorite. I spray it all over my face. I feel like it helps the powder and the cream, everything kind of melt together. It, in my opinion, prolongs the wear. Even if I'm sweating, I feel like my makeup doesn't move. And the beauty is, you know, they have mattifying setting sprays, they have glowy setting sprays. This one's kind of in the middle where it definitely does not mattify the face. It is not a mattifying, but it also doesn't add glow. It's just like, it just makes everything look nice on your skin. You know what I mean? It makes it melt into your skin and it prolongs the wear. And I really think this works. I've gone through many, many bottles. I already have backups. This one's almost done for, because I just spray like crazy. I'm not shy about this, but I really do like this. The similar one is the Skindinavia setting spray. I also love that. They're the same. I don't care what anyone says. I know that this is made by Skindinavia, so they've got to be really similar formulas. I love both of them. Well, let's go ahead and get the lip gloss out of the way because you know what I'm going to say, but then I'll tell you what's on my lips. So my favorite lip gloss, and maybe my favorite, no, definitely my favorite lip discovery of the year, is the Dose of Colors lip glosses. These are sold on Ulta's website, and of course, like Dose of Colors. I own, this is 4 of them. I think I own 2 or 3 other ones. And if I count the Mickey Mouse ones, like 8. I have never gone crazy on lip gloss like I have with these. I bought one, was like, what is this magical stuff? Bought another, was like, yup. Bought the Mickey Mouse stuff. Bought 4 more when they were on sale on Ulta's website. These are incredible. They smell like vanilla cupcakes. They're like a thicker but crazy creamy lip gloss. They actually have color to them. You guys, I've never, you have to try one. If you can afford the $17, or maybe if you wait for a sale, I'm telling you, you will try it and be like, well, I don't need any of my other lip glosses. These are the ones for me, forever, for life. I'm not exaggerating because you guys know I don't like toss that around lightly. I don't. These are unbelievable. They're miles above other glosses. Like, I can't explain it. So I have the original shade I loved was Messy Bun, and it's kind of a cool toned, kind of mauvey color. A lot of you guys bought that on my recommendation and love it too. The smell, oh, the smell. But what really impressed me beyond just the experience of putting them on, and they're so soft, they're beautiful, they smell great, is that as they wear off throughout the day, you don't get like a weird line on the inside of your lips. They're just, it's almost as though a lip balm is wearing off, you know, where it doesn't really look weird on your lips. It just kind of wears off. That's what these do. I don't know how, because usually with lip gloss, they start to dry out or they get weird, and you know what I mean. This doesn't do that. What is this stuff? So the other shade I swatched here is Spill the Deets. I love that one. So Messy Bun, Spill the Deets. This one is in Happy Hour. It's a little light for my lips because mine are really pigmented, but it's a really pretty peach. And then this other one is called Jazzy, and this is one that's more of a metallic, like gold. It's really pretty, and it's actually one of the few metallic lip colors I've actually worn and not hated, you know what I mean? But it's certainly not my favorite in the line, but it looks really pretty over lipstick, so keep that in mind. The other two I have that I love, I will list below because they're in my purse because I use them all the time. I love them. So I recommend any of them. They're all gorgeous. They're all gorgeois. But I did do a video where I put all of the shades on my lips, or at least most of them. So I'll link that below if you want to see like lip swatches of them. All right, moving along. My favorite lipstick, you might be surprised, is not my Marc Jacobs La Marque cream lipsticks. I still love those. I still have them. I use them all the time. But I thought I'm gonna give another lipstick some love that I also love. And again, this is one that people used to talk about years ago on YouTube, and I feel like no one really talks about them, and I still think they're incredible. It's the NARS Audacious lipsticks. Again, they're still expensive. This is the shade Raquel. It's a really pretty nude, like the most perfect nude. This is about as nude and light as I can go, again, with my pigmented lips, where I think it still looks fine. These are incredibly creamy, incredibly pigmented. They're comfortable to wear. Again, they're still a regular bullet lipstick, so you're still gonna need to reapply them. But I think it wears pretty well for a couple of hours. And again, they're so creamy, they're comfortable. They don't dry my lips out. I feel the same about the Marc Jacobs ones, but I feel like these might be even creamier. Actually, I know that they are, and that's why I was like, I think I wanna give these a shout out this year. So I love it. If you have any shade recommendations, I used to have Barbara, and this is Raquel, and I had Anna. Did I ever own Anna? I want to buy more shades is what I'm saying. So if you have shade recommendations, holla, because I want to buy maybe 2 or 3 more, because I've got some other lipsticks that are getting older that I'm like, it might be time for those to move on, and I wanted to replace with some of this wonderful formula. All right, my favorite like wild card lip product are these Lancome L'Absolu lacquers. What in the heck? What in the heck? This is what I'm wearing on my lips. I'm wearing this in the shade number 366. These are like the weirdest long wearing lip color I've ever tried. If you're like me and you're like, no, I'm not messing with liquid lips anymore. Like, I still have 1 or 2. I'll wear them from time to time, especially if I'm filming. But guess what? When I'm done filming, I wipe that off because they're not comfortable. My lips are dry for like 3 days after wearing them. These are magic. These are magic. They are very thin, and you'll even see, like, let me show you the swatches. The swatches do not look impressive. Like, you're probably looking at them like, ew, like what? But this is one of those products that it's more like a stain, but it keeps this glossy, comfortable finish to it. That's what I mean. It's really weird. It like kind of stains, but it stays glossy, it stays in place. None of it makes any sense, you guys. I'm telling you, I know what I'm saying. It doesn't add up, but that's what it does. So I have another red shade. Again, I'll link the red shade I love down below because it's in my purse because I use it all of the time. This is the lip color that if I'm wearing a bold color and I need it to stay on for a while and I'm gonna be talking and drinking water and coffee, I go for these because they look healthy on the lips. They're a little bit glossy, but they stay where they are. Right? And I can, if I ever feel like they're getting like weird in the middle, I just do that and it's like, boom, back to normal. Oh. But I will say with these, you have to swipe on, depending on the color, I usually do like 3 or 4 layers. So you don't need to let them dry or anything. It's not like Lip Sense at all. I know it kind of sounds like it is. It's not. Lip Sense is way more drying. If you saw like my all day test on that, they're super drying. They stay in place, but they're really dry. So these are, in my opinion, leaps and bounds above that. I do have a favorite sponge I figured worth mentioning. You guys know I love my L'Oreal one, and honestly, it's the one I repurchase constantly. I've gone through like, well, I've gone through like 10 this year, but that's because Pinocchio keeps stealing them, chewing them up, leaving it everywhere. He doesn't even swallow it, thank goodness. It's just like a mess. One day I'll learn to not put it where he can reach it. Anyway, but the only other sponge I tried this year that I was like, whoa, this is really good, is the Blue Beauty Blender. It's like their Sapphire. Again, Pinocchio chewed mine up. It was a great day. It's like $20 down the drain. Anyway, but it's really, really good. Like, I liked that blue one. There's something different about it, and it's not the same as the regular beauty blender. It's like maybe lighter, spongier, you know what I mean? And I really, really enjoyed it. So that's one that it's on my list to buy again and keep away from where he can reach it. But I was really impressed with that one. So I figured I'd put a picture on the screen and tell you about it, even though I don't have it anymore, because it was really good. I was really impressed. So those are all of my favorites from, you know, high-end, luxury, bougie, that level. I have so much fun doing these videos every year. I call them the JAMMY Awards, by the way, if you didn't know, because my screen name is JamBeauty89, and that's my social media as well. Jam were my initials before I got married. But anyway, so I called them the Jammies as an homage to the Grammys, because I thought that was fun, but also because like I based this whole series around, I loved the Emily Awards that Emily Noel does. So I always want to give her a shout out, because she, way back when I started the JAMMY Awards, she had already started the Emily Awards, and I loved that. So she does it way more in depth though. Like, if you've ever seen her, she does like every category separate videos, which is awesome. She's already posted all of hers, so I'll link her channel if you want to watch hers, because that girl has tried so much makeup. Amazing. So if you enjoyed this, like I said, I hope you'll check out my drugstore version. I hope you'll subscribe and stick around. I'm planning on doing 4 videos a week throughout all of 2019. That is my goal. Now that I'm doing this full time, I actually have the time to do that. So 4, I'm hoping to be my minimum. I'm hoping for it to be 5 most weeks. So I'm very excited about that. And other than that, I hope that you will give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.